Hiya Five, I hope you've had a great half term. So, lesson one, this is week beginning the 1st of June, so this is English lesson one, okay? So, we're going to be looking at one of the summer skills over the next week. It may go on for the next 2 weeks, and it's this one. I manage shifts in time and place effectively and guide the reader through my text. Okay, so this is the skill we're going to be focusing on. Now, we have already mentioned this throughout the year when we've been doing our stories, when we've been reading certain texts in school. So the lesson objective for this lesson is to learn what a shift in time looks like. Okay, what does it look like in story writing? So I'm going to read you this sheet, and this is on the website for you to have a look at, okay? And I want us to think about the story of the Tornado Chasers. I've got the book here. If you remember, we did this earlier on in the year. And it does have a lot of shifts in time. So I thought I would focus on this story. Okay, so chapter 1, we read that Owen is locked in his bedroom on his birthday. His bed is covered with chicken wire. His windows had closed shutters over them. A birthday pizza is pushed under the door with his age on it. A Pop-Tart as a birthday cake. His room is completely bare, apart from a bed. It's very sad and slightly disturbing start to the story. Then there's a knock on the window and Callum Brenner is there. He opens the shutters and Owen escapes through the window. So the writer begins this story, if you like, in chapter 1 with a climactic event. It's an event from the present. Okay? In other words, chapter 1 is like the present of what was happening in that moment in time. Some stories will have the present for maybe quite a few chapters and then flash back in time or go forward in time. This story only gives you one chapter. So the very first chapter is actually taken from a part of the story which is much later on. Okay? And it's like a flashback, really, that happened in chapter 1. Then when you go into chapter 2, the story then goes back in time, how it all begun. And then it builds up. And actually, chapter 11 explains to us what happened in chapter 1. So if you like, chapter 1 is actually from chapter 11. It's like it goes forward in time into the present, if you like, of that moment in chapter 11. And then in chapter 2, we go back in time to the beginning. So authors do this sometimes. They shift around in time. They don't just start a story from the beginning that flows through from start to finish in a nice smooth sequence of time. Okay? That's pretty boring in story writing. The best authors use shifts in time. Okay? In other words, changes in time that happen in story writing that help build the story. Okay? So this is what we're really focusing on. So your main task today, okay, I've got some questions. So this is lesson 1, some questions for you to answer based on that first chapter. Okay? You know, why does the writer Ross Montgomery, who wrote The Tornado Chasers, why does this writer begin with a random snippet of chapter 11 back in chapter 1? When I was first reading this book, it made no sense at all. Chapter 1 made no sense to me. I didn't understand what was going on. You know, it was so strange. There's this child locked in his bedroom. There's barely any furniture. His bed's covered with chicken wire. The windows are shut with shutters. His birthday pizza is slid under the door with a Pop-Tart. It's very odd. And as a reader, I was thinking to myself, what is going on here? It caused a lot of questions to be formed in my mind, and it created for me an emotional response as I read it because it was very sad. I felt for this child. I thought it was really sad that he'd been shut in his room, that he had hardly any furniture in there. You know, it almost looked like the child was being neglected by his parents. that he's been treated badly by his parents, and it made me feel upset, I suppose, sad, worried, concerned, confused about what was going on in this chapter. And that's exactly what Ross Montgomery wanted the reader to feel at the start of that story. They wanted to capture the reader's interest, okay, in that way. And that's why writers flash back and forth in time, okay, giving us little snippets as the story unfolds, sometimes going back to a memory or going forward to a climactic event that happens in the future and then going back to the build-up to it. Okay, so here are some questions. Question 1, did the story begin at the start of the storyline? How do you know? Well, I've already answered that, but I still want you to answer it for me so that you're showing me you understand. Okay, question 2, did the beginning of chapter 1 make sense straight away? And if it didn't, why didn't it? Again, I've given you that answer as I've been speaking, really, but I still want you to put it down so that you'll show me that you've listened and you're showing me that you understand. Did chapter 1 of the Tornado Chasers cause you to question things? What questions did you ask yourself? Question 4, why does the author begin with drama? Question 5, why doesn't the start make sense straight away? Question 6, why is Owen locked in his bedroom? Do we know? Question 7, why does chapter 1 start by jumping forward in time? And question 8, why does chapter 2 jump back in time to the beginning? Okay, so just some questions based on this idea of moving and shifting back and forth in time. So that's lesson 1, okay? So I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you at next lesson, lesson 2. Bye!